state and say, if it doesn't include cash, it ain't reparations. That's 916-319-3868. Tell him Callie House sent you. From Bruce's Beach to the California Task Force, the Golden State is a trailblazer when it comes to reparations. The world is watching. We must rise to the historical moment and set a precedent for cash payments along with legislative remedies and policies addressing the systemic badges of slavery and Jim Crow. We must insist on measures significant enough to help close the racial wealth gap. California must stand for cash, and the time for reparations is now. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Dominique DePrima. We welcome your comments.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss it. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Most countries recognize 18 as the start of adulthood by granting various freedoms and privileges. But is age the best way to measure maturity?
I was born 12:05 a.m. on November 6th, 5 minutes short of being eligible to vote in the election tomorrow.
Meanwhile, your big brother, yours truly, was born 15 minutes earlier, so I can vote.
It's arbitrary and unfair. The voting age should be lowered to 16.
I firmly disagree. No way 16-year-olds are mature enough to make decisions with national consequences. I'm eligible and I don't even know who's running.
Meanwhile, I know the candidates inside and out.
She's obsessed with politics.
Exactly. If 16-year-olds aren't mature enough to vote, then by that same logic, they shouldn't be allowed to drive.
I firmly disagree. I'm an excellent driver, and I've never gotten a ticket, unlike some people.
That's so unfair. That stop sign was hidden by a tree.
I think you both make valid points. And questioning the age limits of adulthood is well warranted. Some countries have lowered the voting age to 16, and cultural coming-of-age ceremonies are often celebrated at different ages. As there seems to be no consensus on exactly when we reach maturity, perhaps science can give us a clearer answer. One way neuroscientists have looked to define adulthood is by when the brain is fully grown. Brain development involves two trajectories. First, there's a reduction in gray matter. Gray matter consists of cells and connections that facilitate communication at short ranges, creating dense information processing hubs. While a reduction may seem like a bad thing, what's happening is a selective pruning. Connections that are used are kept and strengthened, while underused ones are weeded away, creating a brain that is both fine-tuned to its environment and energy efficient. This gray matter reduction coincides with an increase in white matter. White matter refers to connections that are myelinated, coated in a layer of insulation, allowing for fast, far-range communication between information hubs. For example, these paths connect regions that signal the pleasure of immediate reward with regions that help us plan ahead.
Myelinated. So when you hear people say, oh, if you smoke, you lose brain cells, you never lose a single brain cell. What you lose is the myelin, the coating on the cell. If you lose that coating, this is what leads to Alzheimer's and things of that nature, Parkinson's and that kind of stuff, right? Myelinated, cells that are coated, right? And usually those are the synaptic nerves, right? You never lose any brain cells. You lose the coating, and that's important. And when we're talking about the maturity of the brain, right? Women's brains mature faster than men. By the time women are 25, their brains have fully matured. Men are around 30 years old. That's when we become technically mature, right? Or an adult, so to speak. Your brain is still forming. But I'm speaking psychologically and spiritually. Many people see relationships as an appendage of society. I've done well, or I haven't done well. But one thing I can do is be in a relationship. Right? They think it comes along with it, right? The reality of the matter is this. In intimate relationships, you have to be ready to be exposed. That's the school of exposure. The University of You is the school of exposure. Being exposed not only to yourself, but to another. Can relationships between adults truly withstand the challenges posed by adverse life events, or do they crumble under pressure? To what extent does transactionalism influence the dynamics of adulting within relationships? And is it a sustainable approach? Is there a correlation between traditional gender roles and the success or failure of adult relationships in today's society? How does personal growth and maturity in adulting impact the overall well-being and satisfaction of a partner in an intimate relationship? Does societal expectations of adult behavior hinder or enhance the authenticity of relationships between grown individuals? Are there inherent power dynamics at play in relationships that can either empower or disempower individuals within the partnership? Is there a fine line between independence and interdependence in adult relationships? And how does the balance affect the longevity of the partnership? Can unresolved childhood wounds and traumas impede the ability of adults to navigate healthy relationships? And how can individuals address these issues together? See, what I'm starting to realize is if you have a maladaptive or even a secure attachment style, most people want to solve their problems on their own. When there's a problem that pops up in a relationship, most people are like, no, I got it. I'm going to handle it. I'll handle it. I'll take care of it. Never mind. Right? That's a biological thing that happens to kids, to children. This didn't feel good. What is the natural response? Withdraw. Pull back. Do you understand? There is a big difference between thinking I'm in a relationship and something's wrong, therefore something must be wrong with the relationship, and thinking I'm in a relationship and we've got problems. This is evidence that you are different than me. Please understand, if you're in a relationship with somebody and there's an issue, it's not you have an issue, it's we have an issue. Especially if you give two shakes of a fat rat's tail about each other, we got an issue. But because the internet has given us so many false illusions of options, we think, oh, there's a problem? Well, there's another one in a minute. Matter of fact, he'll be here in a minute. Do you understand? Problems are going to arise. It takes a certain level of spiritual maturity to be able to sit down and go, you know what? You are a human being and you did something that I didn't think you were capable of doing. Well, first, let's examine the expectation of me not falling. And then let's examine your reluctance to accept my humanity. And then let's examine what I did. And on both sides, let's try to make it end in an apology to each other for having unrealistic expectations, and on the other end, for me hurting you or you hurting me. Let's do that. Let's say, let's do this in love. Let's do this understanding that we care, approve of, and appreciate one another. And let's walk it back. Do you understand? Many people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to do it. Let's get in Zinga from Pensacola, Florida. Get in here. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Hey, this is a good topic. Well, good evening. How you doing, Mr. Zell?
I am alive and well. Thank you. Talk to me.
This is a good topic. I think that two people when coming in, well, I feel that when two people coming into a relationship, you go in with no expectation, or you should consider going in with no expectation, to try to change or sway people to how you feel or think. And you should, maybe the influence should come organically. Like, you pick up each other's lingos and things like that, but you should never set out to be equally yoked. Like you've said in the past, you're on your journey, I'm on mine. We can meet in the middle, but we have to do individual work. I can't do the work for you. You have to do it for yourself. But another thing I think is what's really important that can save, because one of the questions, and they were really good questions, by the way, Attila, but I know one of the questions were, during really adverse events, what could help? I think keeping people out your business is probably the number one rule. You see like parents get involved, cousins, coworkers, best friends, and then your relationship is ruined when it's only really supposed to be between the two of y'all. And I think if you communicate without all that extra, without people being in your business, you can save. I think that's one of the tools, maybe keeping people out your business. What do you think?
I like it. Keeping people out your business. I like it. I could smoke a bag of that if I smoked. I appreciate that.
Okay, you're welcome, Mr.
Yeah, in Zinga, guess what you just did, honey?
Brought Pensacola in the building.
Yes. Pensacola, Florida is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, we're going to South Central Los Angeles. Let's get it!
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. Linking social justice and climate justice all year long.
We're unapologetically progressive.
KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Single Moms Planet is a nonprofit organization dedicated to uplifting under-resourced single mom business owners and working mothers nationwide. Single Moms Planet offers comprehensive programs of financial literacy, business development, mentorship, and entrepreneurial training. They provide education, accountability, and hope. Single Moms Planet was founded by model, TV personality, and producer Nefertiri Plessy. Nefertiri felt firsthand the challenges that face single moms as she was raised by a working single mother. She learned that the most disadvantaged group in the United States are single mom families. According to the U.S. Census, 30% live under the poverty line. So she decided to do something about it, along with co-founder Cole Patterson. Their goal is to end the poverty cycle in single mother households through education, opportunity, and networking, providing family and child enrichment programs for under-resourced single-parent families. Single Moms Planet serves over 10,000 single moms and their children each year. Studies show that business development and financial literacy provide a positive environment for children and families, exposing them to new possibilities and opportunities. To attend one of their fun events, make a donation, or get more information, or if you need help as a single mom, please visit singlemomsplanet.org. That's singlemomsplanet.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whose world is this? It's mine, whose world is this? It's mine, whose world is this? It's mine, whose world is this? Say what? Whose world is this? It's yours. It's mine. Whose world is this?
Hi guys! So today we're talking about something that doesn't come with a manual, just like a lot of things in adulting that doesn't come with manuals. We're talking about how to be a full-fledged adult in a relationship. If you're ready to navigate love with maturity and grace, then this one video you should watch to the end. Hello fellow adults, hello adults. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Modupe. Welcome to Adulting with Modupe. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Modupe. I am your friend on this channel. I make adulting content and I talk about finance.
Wait, hold on. I gotta cut this one. I gotta cut that clip short. And the reason being is because a powerful question just came in from YouTube. A sister by the name of B. Basie. She basically asks, can people become equally yoked? So now let's just get right to it. A lot of people misconstrue what equally yoked means. You know, I was raised in the church. I'm from the South. My mother was in the choir and choirs all over the place. We went to church all week. I get it. A lot of people misconstrue what equally yoked means. Yoke is an English word. Now remember, the English language is connected to the Indo-European language. Indo meaning Indian, Sanskrit, Indian is a blasphemous term to call those people, by the way. But people of the Indus Valley, Indo-European. So basically, from Sanskrit to all the European languages, they are connected. So yoke comes into English from the Sanskrit yoga. Yoga, yogini, yogi, all mean union. Equally yoked means to be in union, to be as one. That's what this represents. Now you get hermeneutics and exegesis and people coming in basically interpreting that equally yoked means we got to be of the same belief system. No, you got to be of the same soul. You have to be one with each other. Yoke means union, right? So just like when you're in church and you're eating the crackers and drinking the grape juice, the Welch's, it is called communion, right? Communion is union with the body and the blood of Christ. You are taking in the body and the blood of Christ, becoming one with it. Communion. Union is the root of it. Yoga, communion, yoke. Yoga means union. Do you understand? Not a unified thought process. Anybody with any philosophical and psychological sense know that two humans can have the same belief system and disagree about all of it. Do you understand? So please don't get the idea mixed up with what the spirit of that scripture was saying. Do you understand? What you think a trauma bond is, that's equally yoked. Oh, I know y'all not ready for tonight. Don't you know when you're trauma bonded to somebody, you're equally yoked? Don't you know when you guys are mirroring each other, you're equally yoked? Don't you know when your wounds can empathize with their wounds, you're equally yoked? It's not about dogma or doctrine. This is why this show is about spiritual maturity. Do you understand? See, people don't understand that. Yes, a trauma bond is equally yoked. People in dysfunctional relationships are equally yoked. Ain't no one person, I'm the only one in this toxic environment. Well, the toxicity skipped me like the F5 tornado skipped that house. That's not how it works spiritually and psychologically. It's just not how it works. And for people who got a problem with me referencing spirit, if we look up the etymology of the word psychology, it means the study of the soul. Now later on, the study of the mind. And later on, the study of the mind and the body. Do you see? The Western science will take these ancient terms that mean something deeper and turn it into this linear thing because of science. But the word actually means psychology, psyche, all that, mind, soul, ology, study of the mind and the soul. Study of the soul, technically. Do you understand? So don't get spooky with me. Don't get woo-woo with me. Problem is, we've turned relationships into a functional, practical appendage of society at large. This is your place in my life. And this is what you have to bring to the table in order to stay here. Tell me that ain't everybody. Or at least the majority of everybody. Does that make sense? Are we making some type of headway here? Right? You want to grow up in a relationship, like I said before, you got to get nude, spiritually nude. How do you really feel about your mama? Sure, you love her, but how do you really feel about her? Right? We make all types of excuses. We got an enhancement bias for our family. We aggrandize their good attributes, and we minimize their negative attributes. There are things we tolerate in our family that we would never tolerate in relationship. And I'm only talking about duration. Ooh, family gets a longer rope. Am I lying? Somebody. Come on now. Come on. Listen, when we come forward, I promise I'm going to Houston, Texas, and I'm going to South Central Los Angeles. I got to talk to J-Dub. When we come forward, more from the callers.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin says the civilian death toll in Gaza is far too high. Austin, who is black, made the comment in a recent meeting and said the amount of humanitarian aid reaching Gaza is far too low. The Pentagon chief said there needs to be an immediate increase in assistance in Gaza to avert famine and called for expanding aid deliveries by land. Israel has blocked the UN's Palestinian Relief Agency from making aid deliveries in northern Gaza, calling the agency a front for Hamas. The Windy City will restore the Chicago Remembers Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Black Mayor Brandon Johnson's office announced the memorial located on the city's Riverwalk will be repaired. It has the engraved names of more than 2,900 Illinois veterans. Officials say several names have faded and become difficult to read. Chicago will hold an event at the site on Friday in observance of National Vietnam Veterans Day. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Nearly 3,000 teen drivers die in car crashes each year. Tire Rack Street Survival is designed to save lives. The one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
All I need is one mic.
Reparations Now has been a rallying cry in this country and around the world for decades. But the demand has taken on new urgency with growing momentum on the issue led by the state of California, which has completed an extensive study and put forth recommendations to enact reparations. California's reparations actions have huge nationwide implications. The California Task Force was the first of its kind in the nation, and the states of New York and Colorado recently voted to take on the issue. Dozens of cities from coast to coast, including San Francisco, Boston, Los Angeles, and Detroit, have started their own reparations commissions. One of the first known reparationists was Callie House, who toured the nation advocating for reparations in the 1890s. But never in this nation's history has the movement to heal the harms of enslavement, institutionalized racism, and the system of white supremacy seemed so strong. The topic remains untouchable for most elected officials, and the call for reparations has not yet garnered widespread public support. Polling shows that most Californians agree that black fellow citizens are still suffering from the damage done by slavery and Jim Crow, but they still do not support cash reparations. The California Legislative Black Caucus has introduced a package of proposals for bills that do not include 1 penny of cash compensation, restitution, or repair. Governor Newsom and other lawmakers have distanced themselves from the concept of cash payments. While Newsom is right, cash alone will not repair our collective harm, the state's goofy legislative package ignoring monetary payments is disingenuous. California lawmakers need to step up and put a reparations bill for cash payments on the table. The issue of how it is funded, the timeline, or whether it impacts our current budget challenges can be addressed. But we must strike while the iron is hot, or the window of opportunity will pass us by. If you agree that it's time for our lawmakers to add a bill enacting cash payments to their lineup, call them at 916-319-3868 and say, if it doesn't include cash, it ain't reparations. That's 916-319-3868. Tell them Callie House sent you. From Bruce's Beach to the California Task Force, the Golden State is a trailblazer when it comes to reparations. The world is watching. We must rise to the historical moment and set a precedent for cash payments along with legislative remedies and policies addressing the systemic badges of slavery and Jim Crow. We must insist on measures significant enough to help close the racial wealth gap. California must stand for cash, and the time for reparations is now. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Dominique DePrima. We welcome your comments.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007 they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're not willing to tell me the truth and I'm not willing to tell you the truth, then maybe we're not really friends.
Dorothy Dream!
So I want to talk about something today that I think is pretty relevant in a lot of people's lives, including my own. And it's about telling the truth. I feel like a lot of the times it's hard for people to tell the truth because they just don't care enough. And I know that I am so guilty of this. But what I mean is that you're friends with someone and you see them doing something that you know is not beneficial for them, or you know is bringing them down the wrong path, and you don't say anything. And sure, you can say, oh, you know, it's not my place to say anything, or they're not gonna listen, but really what it is that you just don't care enough to be honest with that person. If you really cared about that person's well-being, and if you really cared about your friend, then you would tell them the hard truth. I am pretty much talking to myself because I know that I have a hard time being honest with people sometimes. And I don't mean that I lie, but I mean that when I know that there's something that needs to be said, or I see something being done wrong, I hold my tongue because I care more about my pride than I do about their well-being. I'm afraid that they're going to reject me, or I'm afraid that they're going to shut me down, that they're not going to listen, that my efforts will have been done in vain. And honestly, that's kind of just part of being human. Obviously, there's a time and place for saying certain things. You don't want to go up to someone when they're in the middle of a midlife crisis and tell them off. Because if they're not in a position where they're ready to hear that or they're ready to listen, what you're saying will be falling on closed ears. I think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, the VOR's been cooking all night. Real adults in real relationships understand that avoiding conflict equals conflict, right? The number one tool you need to have in order to maintain a relationship, a healthy, high quality, loving, caring relationship, is conflict management skills. Healthy adults talk about problems. They look for solutions. When people hurt them, they communicate with compassion. And not perfectly. Like the intent is to be compassionate. The intent is to be collaborative. The intent is to problem solve. The intent is to help. Right? No connection will last if people hold in all of their anger, pain, and misunderstandings. Right? That's S. McNutt. Right? You got to be able to say, you know what? I think my son said it to me the best. The best way I ever heard it came from my son. He's a freshman at Auburn, and he's having a difficult time. He re-injured his surgically repaired knee. You know, he's having a difficult time. He lost his starting spot. You know what I mean? And he was just frustrated. He got into a fight with a teammate. That's how he re-injured his knee. You know, everything was just going crazy. And this is while I was at Dash Radio. He calls me as soon as I get off the air, and he goes, hey, I had to beat up whoop-de-whoop. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on? He was like, yeah, man, he tried to sun me, and I had to beat him up. And he, you know, I got the information from the coaches. They were like, oh, yeah. They corroborated his story. They was like, yeah, he beat the dude up now. And basically, when he was telling me this, he was yelling and he was cursing. And, you know, my son became a different kind of guy when he went to college. You know, in his mind, the moment I stepped onto the college campus, I'm grown. And he was like that little kid. I'm grown. Hitting his chest with no shirt on. I'm grown. You know, my son instantly turned into that dude. So he was going off, right? Yelling and cursing. And I'm getting upset. I'm like, hey, dude, who you talking to? You know, and then I started raising my voice. I start yelling. I start cussing. And then he got calm and said, Dad, who else can I talk to like this? I can't talk to my coaches like this. I can't talk to my professors like this. Dad, you're the only person I can talk to like this. I need to be able to get it out. And sometimes in healthy relationships, you got to listen to your partner vent with that kind of energy. And you need to understand they're upset, they're disappointed. You understand? They earned this moment to release. And I had to give my son the space. He said, man, you're the only dude I trust to be able to talk like this. If I talk like this in any other space, you know, things could get worse. I said, okay, brother, I got you. And then I understood my position. I understood my role in that moment. I said, all right, I got you. Go ahead. Let her rip. And sometimes in intimate relationships, we don't offer that kind of grace to each other. When we should, we take offense. We get offended when the voice level, when the vociferation level raises. We get offended. We feel attacked. And maybe that came from a childhood wound or something like that. But these are opportunities to look at self. This is what spiritual maturity looks like in a relationship. This is what being a real adult this is what adulting looks like in a relationship. Being able to pause in that moment and pull back a little and say, wow, this person is hurt. This person is frustrated. This person is disappointed. My person is frustrated, disappointed, angry. I hurt my person. Sometimes you got to pull back and say, they deserve this moment. And that's a hard lesson to learn. Sometimes you lose people when you're not adept at providing that kind of support. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Of course, the brother been on the longest. That's JWSCLA. You know what that is, South Central Los Angeles. JW, get in here. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Well, brother, I would like to say a number of things, and I hope I can say it quick enough if you allow me enough time. First of all, I can identify what you just said with this time, because once I had called in and shared about our relationship between my mother and I, because I'm a caregiver. And I said I found myself out of character once I realized it's cause and effect or a reaction. And that's a human nature trait as far as I'm concerned. It comes from childhood. It was pure human nature or, the way you comprehend things. And, you get offended because of the circumstances. Now, the next thing I would like to address is the fact that I need to realize what my flaws are instead of name 5. Now, I know one for certain that's expressing me. Now, maybe 2, I have a genuine fear because I don't push myself to be consistent because I'm a self-taught reader. But I don't spell well and I don't write well. And I don't push myself to be consistent. But I found myself a couple of weeks ago really driving myself. I went to the law library home for a particular reason. Won't go into detail, but I really surprised myself how I dug into those law books because I'm not a great reader. I'm a self-taught reader. And so I was kind of, proud of myself, and it motivated me to be more consistent. And I also be more active and engaged like I used to be when I was younger in terms of social issues. I'm glad about that. But anyway, as I was saying, with in association with the spiritual growth, I realized at this time and place in my life, like I mentioned once before, I had a lot of good qualities. It seemed like they decreased or degraded. And that brought on some shame or some self-guilt that I kept to myself. And the way I was able to release it is to turn my pain into power. That's why I'm more active and engaged with social issues, such as I mentor boys from 12 to 16 at my ministry, and I've been doing that for almost 20 years. And I'm with Community Coalition trying to get them steward things I started with the youth. So that keeps me busy and motivates me. And it takes that pain away. And it's like a curing factor. And also, the spiritual growth is making me realize that I learned how to accept myself. That's why I always tell you, normally when, you ask me how I'm doing, I say I'm blessed and highly favored in spite of myself. Because I know all human beings are flawed. They're like filthy rags of sin before God. And so I learned how to accept myself as well as others. I would tell my cousin, even my mother, I don't like your ways, or I hate your ways, or I love you as you are, because I know how to distinguish the difference between the two. You follow me? And I accept people for who they are as well as themselves, and that's part of my spiritual growth. There's more I can say, but I know I don't have the time.
Well, thank you, brother. We appreciate you sharing what you were able to share. Nothing but love. You brought South Central Los Angeles in the building. When we come forward, we're going to Houston, Texas. The creator of the topic is online.
Is it good to you? Good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes,
Why should we be silent?
turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation with KBLA Talk 1580.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
All right. Hello, friends in the room. Hello, friends in Fort Worth and in Houston and those tuning in around the country and the state. I'm going to start with a question. Have you ever received bad advice about something? Yeah, a lot of people have. I received bad advice related to wedding invitations. Since we're talking about adulting in this series, part of adulting is attending weddings and filling out wedding invitations. And so some of the bad advice that I received happened when I was 18 years old. It was really the first time that I'd ever received a wedding invitation. For me personally, I had friends that were getting married. I get this invitation. I'm in college at this point. I get the wedding invitation, and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do with this thing. How do I fill it out? And if I don't fill it out, does that mean I for sure can't come? So I asked my roommate roommate, and he begins to, I explain, hey, what do I do with this? It says number of guests. What do I put there? And he says, look, you just fill it out. You say I'm coming or I'm not coming. And then in the number of guests, you put how many are coming. And I'm like, okay, so I just put the number of people that are going to come. And I put in yes, coming or not coming. That's all that I do. Yes, that's all you do. It's really easy. Are you kidding me? Why are you asking me this question? Perfect. Okay, so I put it down. And what I did not understand is that he was saying you only fill out the number of guests if they have told you you can bring another person. That's the only time that you say, I'm bringing two. In other words, every wedding invitation that you receive is not just a chance for you to put in as many people as you would like to bring. I'm gonna write down 8 or 9 people. My little posse is gonna come with me to this wedding. And you're laughing now, but it only gets worse because I did not understand that. And so every wedding that I attended, based on that bad advice that I had been given, I would always bring a date with me, because who likes to attend a wedding by themselves? Can I get an amen?
Amen. I thought you was going to get to your point quicker than that. Amen. Let's get past it. We got Attila, Houston, Texas. Get in here.
Uncle Go, how are you?
What up? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Love it. I'm just cracking up over that clip. But no, all right. So the SLDD thing, I wanted to touch on that a little bit. I made a comment in the chat. So the thing about SLDDs, even if you have someone that just loves you so much, you are going to find a way to pick that apart. To me, perfectionism is your enemy, right? When it comes to trying to maintain balance in a relationship. And so I saw a clip earlier today, and a girl was saying that basically she broke up a relationship of 5 years because she felt like he was just not her husband. He was great, but not good enough for me, is what she said. And so the perfectionism that we exhibit as SLDDs is imaginary. So I'll say this. You want to function as a full-fledged adult in a relationship, get used to being messy.
Get used to being a little messy. I love it. Attila, we appreciate you and your contribution to the Voice of Reason. Nothing but love. This is my niece. Y'all know her. Attila from Houston, Texas. You brought your city in the building. Listen, you guys know what this is. This is a conversation where everybody gets to participate. I respect everybody's point of view and opinion, like I said at the beginning of the show. But I have some thoughts. You're an adult in a relationship, man, if you're okay when it gets bad. If you love them, you're okay when it gets bad. It's just that simple. I'm okay. We're in a bad place, but we're okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to find a better place. Right? We're going to stay the course. I have faith that this too shall change. And I think that's important for people who actually love each other. And I'm not talking about situations that are toxic, that are dysfunctional, that are abusive. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about, life has a way of hitting you. Life has a way of knocking you down. And when you love each other, you find a way to stand in defiance of what life is throwing at you. You're happy. You guys are happy doing nothing together. That's a sign you guys are adults in relationship. It's not about what we do. It's about who we are together. Right? You show your love in more ways than just sex. Right? Right? You show your love in more ways than just sex. Sometimes looking at each other is, that's intimate, right? Looking each other eye to eye, caressing each other. Touching each other, and not in a sexual way, holding hands, acknowledging each other, right? Approving of each other, lifting each other up, encouraging each other. That's intimacy too. You are actively working towards building something. And when I say building a life together, it's about protecting each other in that life, right? Whether it be financial, whether it be emotional, whether it be psychological, we're here trying to build and protect each other moving forward. We got each other's back. We have space and grace for each other to stand up to each other, but also we're going to stand for each other against the world. That's an adult relationship. We're going to make decisions as a team, You know, I may have strengths in certain areas, but if you have strengths that are stronger than mine in other areas, then you're the leader, right? In that particular context. I think a healthy relationship, an adult relationship, is one where each partner is always working on themselves. And I think when you're in a relationship with somebody, you should always have a spirit team, a prayer team, people you go to for prayer. And then you should also have a clinical team, people you go to sit down and hash out the real psychological issues that may be going on with you. Just see your psychological issues as something on the bottom of your shoe that you don't want to track into the house, right? You guys, of course, you split responsibilities as evenly as you can. You guys fully commit to each other. And fully committing to each other does not imply ownership, right? This is a commitment that is rooted in the freedom of each other. Like, this is who I am. I cannot, the idea I'm committing to is not important than me, and is not important, more important than you. So these are little things that we can do to build a relationship to where there is major respect, major love, and most importantly, scalability. It can grow, it can expand. Listen, I started the conversation, you finish it. You already know who's up next. Tavis is now on the 9s. He starts us off 9 a.m. No, he doesn't start us off. Dominique DePrima starts us off. But he starts his day off at 9 a.m. and he ends his day at 9 p.m. He'll be coming on live right after the VOR. I'll see you tomorrow. Thursday is my Friday. Deuces.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network.